Welcome to The Better Life with Dr. Mary Ann Pinkston. Join Dr. Pinkston today as she teaches you how an integrative approach to health, combining holistic and contemporary medical information, can lead you to the better life. And now, here's your host, Dr. Mary Ann Pinkston.
Hello, everybody. I'm Dr. Mary Ann Pinkston, and this is The Better Life with Dr. Pinkston. I hope if you're joining us for the first time that you hear and see and get a lot of information that is useful for you in your life and looking for living longer and better. And that's what The Better Life is all about. So once a month, I bring in my friend, Ray Solano, who is up in Cedar Park, Texas, near Austin, Texas. Compounding pharmacist, has PD Labs, one of the best compounding pharmacies out there, and is national, not just Texas. I mean, I bring up that you're in Texas, but you're national. And
That's right.
You do a lot of great things. And so we are pretty good, I think, at busting myths and educating on things that maybe a little on the edge of what is accepted, definitely accepted in conventional medicine. But we are on the forefront, I believe, here. And peptides, I think many people hear that peptides and don't really know what they are and why they're so popular, but at the same time so controversial. So maybe we can talk about that a little bit today. Ray, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. It's a great topic because all of us that have been studying this science for the last 5 years, and it's been at least that much time, maybe even longer, is because this is a whole new category of therapeutics, but not, let's define that. Not a new category. Right. It's expanded to a category because people don't realize insulin is a peptide. And many of these other drugs are peptides, and all the GLP medications, they're peptides. They're probably the most largest, newest blockbuster drugs that have ever launched onto the marketplace because it's really changing medicine. But on top of that, there's this huge backlog of these other. Again, what's a peptide? It's amino acids that are connected, and once you reach a certain size of amino acids that are connected in size of amino acids, then they classify them as drugs. And so when you get over, what's the magic number? 29, 42. Yeah, then it becomes a drug. Right. So for the average lay people, they go, oh, I don't really care how many amino acids, as long as it works. But I think at the same time, this is a new classifications of drugs that don't have a lot of traditional. The ones waiting in the wings don't have traditional studies. They don't have the double-blind studies. They don't have the billion-dollar data behind it because a lot of these can't be marketed exclusively. So they're actually poo-pooed and putting into a non-safe category. And actually what happened was the last administration put this whole category of peptides in a category 2, which caused a safety concern. So what actually happened is a knee-jerk reaction when people want something and then the government comes in and puts it in a unsafe category. Well, you have a gray market. Right. that is started, and it has become a huge multi-million-dollar a day gray market. Right. And it has flourished. And so unfortunately, it's tarnished with that, I guess, insignia as well, research grade, unapproved, blah, 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 blah. Right. But people have been able to do a workaround, so to speak, and have research grade that physicians are saying for professional use only, but legally it doesn't fly by insurance companies and merchant accounts. They're considered unapproved drugs. So anyway, there's a whole cloud of controversy. However, this therapeutic category is one of the least side effect therapeutics than we have ever seen.
Yep.
The worst thing it can do is not work, right?
Absolutely.
It doesn't work. Well, so we have a whole category of trained practitioners, physicians, DOs, pharmacists, nurse practitioners that know nothing about this category of pharmaceuticals, these peptides. And guess what? It takes a lot of work. How many classes have you and I gone to?
Oh gosh, I'm doing one now just to get updated, right? So
the ones that you did a couple of years ago, well, there's the ones that have the next generation. So you're already 5 years behind if you're starting today.
Exactly.
And then, so that's the hard thing is that you're going to have to go back and learn.
Yes.
And you're going to have to spend time. And that's unfortunately what most people don't want to do. My profession, I just met with a group of owners of compounding pharmacies around the country this last week. And it was not, I guess I was not very encouraged by the people that really wanted to put in the effort to study this concept, because unfortunately we're so scared of regulatory concerns. And so what happens is we leave it to the people doing gray markets, which is really, really a shame. It's not going to go away. You're not going to blink and peptides are going to just disappear, because we probably know of 5 or 10 of them that would be first line therapy. For pain, for immune modulation, even for cancer, for dermaceuticals and derms. And so anyway, this whole classification is going to require people to go back and take courses. You went to the course. How long did you spent a whole weekend? Right?
Oh my gosh, yes. And so this
cost you money.
It does. It costs money, and it takes an inordinate amount of time. If you can't do it live, then you have to do it on your own time, and I have to get up crack of dawn and do it. But the thing is, we are, as practitioners, obligated to go back and learn these things. I consider that a part of my job, like prayer in church. I'm telling you, this is what we are supposed to do. It's responsible.
And so we thank goodness we are associated with somebody who has stuck his neck out. Dr. Jim Laval has been teaching these courses for peptide training and started the International Peptide Society in 2016 to 2018, and has forged through the ups and downs and has pleaded the case in front of federal regulators, and this is almost like a Galileo moment. We're talking about, is the world flat or is it round?
Well said. It's so true. It's so true.
Anyway, practitioners like yourself that understand peptides and give those choices are going to be very, very sought after. And, unfortunately, we are regulated, and we have to be able to squeak through the regulatory hurdles first. But when people realize peptides are been in cosmeceuticals for forever, okay? So cosmetics have peptides. It's just the strengths. So I use peptides daily on a topical. We have a complete skin line with topical skin. Yes,
so do I.
That's right. Get rid of the wrinkles, right?
Exactly.
And then we also there's a number of dietary supplements that are peptides. How they get to that category, but they're naturally occurring. They're amino acids, some yeast. Fermented peptides, all these things are naturally occurring. So they're not really synthesized from the traditional method. So I think what you've got is just got two camps out here: the traditional pharma, the blockbusters that control that supply chain, and then we have this group. And peptides can be made with a $50,000 sequencer as opposed to billions. It's unique and different.
It is. And what are the ones that are, and I interrupted you, I'm sorry if you can continue, absolutely, but what are the major ones? Because people are like, okay, peptides, okay, it's controversial, but what are they? What are the main ones? What do they do? I mean, people have heard of it. A lot of athletes use them, and that's where a lot of the gray market issues come from. But, people are using them for anti-aging now, live longer. The things I use it a lot for, gut health, big time. That's where my major ones are. And then, of course, skincare and building muscle, losing fat, things like that. So what are the major players?
Well, I think the ones that are going to be out of the gate that are important is inflammation and pain.
Right.
When people get hurt, they inflame, and you need something to reduce that inflammation right off.
Right.
And right now, the only thing we have is prednisone, steroids, right? And steroids do nothing to help with repair. Right. They stop the inflammation everywhere. Okay. So they have this cascade of domino effect throughout the entire body. And it gets people out of the gate. There's no question it saves lives. So the body overreacts to something, but as a joint and as people that are, how do you reduce an inflammatory condition of a knee or a shoulder or a back? And this is something that you really have to look at. And so the BPC 157 it's been around for 20 years. It's naturally found in the gut, body protection compound, and it has this anti-inflammatory effect that's just marvelous. Absolutely. And I've seen injections on your tendons and and you walk out with relief. Yeah. And then there's TB 500 is another one that upregulates growth hormones, so it helps the body be able to heal and regenerate at the same time for a joint.
Right.
And so we see that it definitely those the ones that we see out of the gate. And then, there's another one that we see that's very popular, and it's a unique name called MOTS-c that everybody has mitochondria that is probably, it has to be replicated. It has to be growing. It's the way that you get energy is mitochondria has to replicate and produce ATP, these energy factories, these spark plugs. And this is a unique peptide that allows the mitochondria to turn on. Sometimes it's turned off because the body is having this imbalance. And so this is a nice universal peptide that's been injectable for years. And we've developed some technology to do it transdermally. And so these are the ones that, come to my head. You got, what do you have? 50 different peptides.
Absolutely wonderful. Yeah.
So those are some of the ones that come to my mind. KPV is a unique peptide to rebuild the gut. Healing, an anti-parasitic, an anti-inflammatory. And you go, wow, these are great, marvelous products that we can definitely be able to use. And GHK copper, what it does to skin and is another one that's used today. We're allowed to use it. And when you add it with estrogens and you rebuild collagen. So all these things what is the oldest generation that the planet has ever seen?
Yes.
Post 65. So this is I think peptides are going to be the fountain of youth.
Yes.
For this generation.
Absolutely.
So they can look better, they can feel better, and they can slow the aging process.
Yes.
Therapeutic. What do you think? That's what absolutely
I do. And some of my other favorites, the CJC, ipamorelin or tesamorelin. combo, used in helping, people to build muscle when they've been terribly ill, cancer or in, HIV or, other issues or just aging. You can build muscle and reduce the wrong type of body fat and sleep better, great anti-aging. So yeah, so many of them and so safe. So safe. It's unbelievable, the safety.
That's the big thing is safety is extraordinary. Now, with that safety, if you're injecting something as a rule of thumb, you want things that are, there's not excipients. These are, when they couple these amino acids together, there's a process of assembly, and you have to make sure good manufacturing practices are done, because people can have anaphylactic reactions. You've seen problems when people have anaphylactic reaction and they end up having an allergic because the body sees it as a unique molecule, and so there is some concern that has to have, but this is normal for you have anaphylactic reactions on drugs on a daily basis. So,
and isn't it preservatives most of the time, or the solvents or things like that? Which solvents are the big concern here.
Solvents, right?
Yeah, but can it be the preservatives or things that are mixed with the peptides, that cause much of the reactions that people get?
Exactly. So when you use standard practice, good manufacturing practices, and state licensed pharmacies know how to make these pharmaceuticals. Right. We're there's a lot of very educated, I would say, compounding pharmacies that are able to do these things on a pilot scale and a small scale, and be able to make them safe and make them effective. And there's a number of different steps on that we have tools in our tool chest to make these the consistent and safe, and use our professional judgment. And that's what we do. We do use our judgment that matches it best for the patient, and look at the risk and look at the dosing. Yes. So I think it is really a new age in medicine, peptides.
Yes, absolutely. And so I think whenever the FDA and the powers that be kind of shut down peptides, placed them in category 2, calling them unsafe or whatnot, pushed a lot of people, like you say, to the gray market, to the black market, even ordering things that are unsafe, and because people are going to do it. They're here to stay.
You're not going to change people's behavior if they get relief or whatever. They're desperate. They're get it.
And understood. I've been a chronic pain patient for 20 years, and I get it. And so the people are getting, by closing this down, they're getting pushed to gray and black market, to get this. And that is where they put in some of the solvents and things like that are very dangerous for people to use, and probably less quality of the peptide, but probably less of peptide in it and more of things that shouldn't be. So please use caution. If it's something that you feel desperate to have, you're an athlete, please use caution in ordering these things. Right now, they're all over. If I put in something on my phone, peptide wise, I get 1,000 choices out there. I do not believe one of them to be safe. Not one of them. So it's saying a lot, but.
Well, we've got to go to the basics. Yes. And there are a number of different formulations. I had a PE 2223 for depression, for a nasal spray. Wow. I mean, that's amazing. What if it gives people a year of relief? Right. What's wrong with that? What if we people with growth hormone, they're aging too fast, and you see it right in front of them. It could have been from an accident. It could have been from a chronic condition, cancer. Let's get their body fine-tuned back to the way it's supposed to. And cancer therapy, there's ones that turn off those cancer markers. Yes. So we're really sitting on the golden age of a revolution in medicine. And unfortunately, we don't have enough practitioners trained in this area. I mean, we still don't have enough practitioners trained in just hormone replacement therapy.
Exactly.
Right?
That's the basic of good medicine right there. So, true.
But so anyway, that's what we're here for. We want to, pull the wool over, pull the rug out and say, here, we got some answers.
Absolutely.
And so that this is what we've been doing for years.
Right.
So lead people in the right direction for what works, and what's safe, and what choices people have.
Absolutely.
And personalize it. That's what we do. Personalized medication for the patient.
Right. So mentioning that then, and we'll take a brief commercial break, but mentioning that, I want people to know where they can find more information on you and peptides and other classic integrative topics.
Well, check out our website, pdlabsrx.com, and also you can check out Laval Performance Health .com, Laval, L-A-V-A-L-L-E, performance .com, lavalperformance.com. You'll see a list of our practitioners that are skilled and trained, and you'll see your picture there as well, on how to give people these choices. And our pharmacists, we have clinical pharmacist team that are trained in all these areas of medicine and compounded medication.
Absolutely.
And so, it's sometimes it's amazing. You actually get somebody on the phone and have a good conversation with. That's what we're working on. Absolutely. And we check us out.
Absolutely. And don't go away, please, because I want to ask a little bit, maybe refresh on the topic of gut health just a little bit and the peptides, because I think that is the basis of anything inflammatory that's happening in the body. So we'll come right back and touch on that.
Hi, this is pharmacist Ray Solano with an important tip to save you money on your prescriptions. Imagine affordable medication and programs that get rid of the root cause of chronic conditions, such as elevated blood sugar, blood pressure, and difficulty remembering your keys, or maybe even where your car is. PD Labs Pharmacy is a special compounding pharmacy providing service, solutions, and access to on-site trained telemedicine staff available to answer your questions. Today, many people have discovered personalized prescriptions tailored to you with powerful results such as feeling better. Check out our website, pdlabsrx.com. Our nationwide coverage and 26 years in pharmacy allows us to offer medications at almost half the price of local pharmacies. Switch your pharmacy to PD Labs and experience the real service without the expensive bill. Call us at 888-909-0110. That's 888-909-0110 or pdlabsrx.com. Remember, you have a choice in healthcare.
Welcome back. I'm Dr. Pinkston here with Ray Solano. And something you said, I think before we jumped on, is that, in regard to peptides, because sometimes you can see it as the miracle and whatnot, and they're not. Nothing's a miracle. The basis of eating right, exercising, getting good sleep, managing your stress, there's the miracle right there, right? But you said, and I loved how you said it, that this is a tool in the toolbox. And so people are looking to treat things like, dementia, memory loss, the gut health, which I mentioned beforehand, osteoporosis, weight issues, energy and aging and muscle and fat balance, things like that. So, it's a laundry list as long as my leg, really, of things that can be treated. But again, it's the tool in the toolbox factor that I think you said was so important.
Most definitely is you can't. We know one thing for sure. You can't take hormones and inject with testosterone, and take all these different hormones if you're drinking a liter of Mountain Dew a day. Okay. You just can't do that. Do people still do that? Yes. It is until you go through the grocery store and see all these pre-processed, ultra-processed foods that just disappear. It is the most popular caloric intake food of our time. It's what's close to 60%. Right. And unfortunately, it's getting even worse for children. And these items they're just not food. They're empty calories. And this is what the foundation of our diet is that causes us to have this intervention.
Right.
Okay. So when you start to identify what are powerful foods and superfoods, because you have to get nutrients on a daily basis, and you got to stay away from some of the kryptonite items. And some of them are really kryptonite items that just weren't around. And so that's what we want to do, is you build this slow, you're aging slowly and gracefully, because you don't want to age in pain, or you don't want to age that you really can't remember the good times.
Absolutely.
It's so important. So we want to be able to, when you're in a chronic pain condition or a chronic condition, guess what? Your body's just off balance. You can't think. You can't have telepathy. You can't listen to your inner voices. So it's really important to get rid of that distraction, so to speak.
Absolutely.
And so this balance in life is important.
Yes.
So, and one of the things I want to say that is, as we getting into this weight loss craze, we're finding all different types of side effects. We're finding that, there was a neat article that was researched that people can't come off of these medications. Well, all right. What do we have here? Do we have another statin frenzy that everybody's going to be on it for the rest of their life and make a fortune? I don't know. But, there are some therapeutics to control that blood sugar, so you can get off of some of these medications.
Absolutely.
And not to be, but sometimes microdosing in small amounts. This is what we're working on, to really regenerate or rewire that brain and rewire your body. Because I think it's sometimes, help me here, I think it takes 20 days to rewire your blood sugars or high blood pressure or the foods you crave. It takes forever. This is why our culture has areas of fasting and areas of 40 days or to deny your body, because this is what somehow your body fixes itself.
It does. It does.
Right?
Trust it. Yes, trust it. It does. It has that capacity.
Let your body fix itself. Get out of the way.
Yes, absolutely. And one of those underlying things that are so important, that I mentioned before the break, is the gut health. And so I do think when you mention weight issues and dementia and, all of the balance of the body, insulin resistance and all, it is at the heart of gut health. And so with the peptides, those are my favorites to use for gut health. And so when we mention things like the KPV and BPC at 157 and those, that's at the heart of it. Kind of the craze now, and I'm glad it is finally 20 years later. I mean, we've known this for a long time, but that was, what I want people to understand is that gut health is probably at the basis of so many, even appetite, over appetite and overindulgence, gut. A lot of that has to do with it. So we have that armament now to be able to fight that.
Exactly. And I think it's important to get a team with an integrative physician and to put together a program. What's your course of therapy going to be? You can't do this on your own. You can't do it on the AI online. You're going to have to, the scary thing is everybody's got blood tests now and everybody wants to be in charge of their own health and do it themselves. Well, I don't need you to, get a blood test. I can get it myself. Okay, great. Do you know what it is? Well, they can say one thing's high. You have no idea. It takes forever to figure out what your body's telling you and overlap it to what your body is doing on a day-to-day basis and overlapping it to what you did 20 years ago. I'm sorry, guys. You can't get that quick. You need to be able to find somebody that has that inner voice that can somehow be that Yoda, right? That can figure out
absolutely
what was the problem and what's the missing link. And I'm sorry, but you can't get that online.
A perfect example. I'm a physician now for almost 30 years. And 10 years ago, I was 300 pounds, wanting to lose weight, with rheumatoid arthritis, cancer, diabetes and high cholesterol, high blood pressure, the whole sleep apnea, the whole gamut. And I was 20 years in at that point as a physician and knew nothing about how to fix it, even though I've been a physician for this long. It has taken me 10 years of hard study and a lot of money paid to study, a lot of time going to conferences and spending time learning.
It's postgraduate work.
Absolutely. ChatGPT does not combat that. That is not an equal. That is something that time and expense and very hard work has added to that knowledge and allowed me now to help other people do it. I'm sorry, you really do need somebody with that super education underneath to help guide you. It's okay to look at these things and question and guide your own care, because most of the time physicians don't even really read the reference ranges correctly on your lab work, or don't do the labs that are really important. And so, people are taking control and getting those things, but sometimes they take too much control and want to do it on their own. I had a lady the other day entering in the weight loss program, and she said, I was talking to her about supplements. She goes, I started a group, but she's an accountant. She said, I started a Facebook group on supplements. I know what I need to know about supplements. I don't need your input on that. I just want the shot. I just want the shot for weight loss. And blew my mind. We had a little talk.
Well, what you just said is correct. And I've got a perfect solution for picking a practitioner. You ready for this?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
When you interview a prospective practitioner that you're going to join up with, in that interview, the practitioner has to be very, I would say, forthcoming and acknowledge and explaining that they really know nothing. Every day they learn, they realize how little they know. If that term or that phrase comes up in a conversation, then the smartest people I know will always say, I really know nothing. I'm just starting over again. And you look at them and you go, oh my God, do you realize how much and that's what really is the trait of a truly brilliant either practitioner or thinker or a professional, is they realize that the more they know,
the less
they realize how little they know.
Absolutely.
And those are the people that you are going to just follow and say, how can you help me? Is that right?
Yeah. There are many times we can look at patients. I know you do it. I know I do it. And I'm like, you know what? I don't know, but I'll get the answer.
Right.
That's a great, the way to treat patients and help them understand. If I don't know and I need to get the answer, then I know you don't know. And so we'll do this together. We'll figure it out. What's best for you? A computer can't do that. An AI algorithm can't do that. A corporate medical group, can't do that. With the insurances can't do that. It is, it's a talent and it's a heart that is with all that, isn't it? Wow. Thank you. I appreciate that. That's wonderful. So what have we left out? Is there anything that we've left out at this point? Big topic?
I think the biggest topic, people need to just train themselves. Yeah. The media tries to control the narrative for health.
Yes.
And the media is the first time ever we're educating the rank and file, the average person, to be practitioners for a reason, for marketing, to promote something. So when you see anything and you hear anything, you see this, look behind the story. Is this being educated or am I being marketed?
Sold. Okay. Am I being sold on something?
Am I being sold? And there used to be standards for this, false claims. But seems like, I don't know how people can get away with it. making these claims and making diagnoses and making this and that. And it's really just a disservice. But I think if you leave today, you'll sit there and just look at things and sniff through them and just kind of laugh and going, what's the real, try to figure out the real story. Make it a game.
Thank you.
What's the real story behind this? And after a while, you'll kind of laugh and chuckle when you see some of these things.
Yeah, the desperation is real, and people are very easily swayed and marketed. You know, we always try to turn what we hear into to solidify something that we believe or something that we need, and always stay on your toes, alert, and question that. I love how you said that. That was absolutely perfect. So, yeah. You got it. Wow. Well, this has been great. I love this. And so tell everybody where they can find you.
Yeah, check us out at PD Labs, pdlabsrx.com. And I've got an announcement that we're going to announce here. We're going to have we're going to embrace AI, and we're going to come up with a AI agent that may be Ask Ray, that we're going to clone myself. And so we're going to have it online, and we're going to embrace this technology and data dump and be able to be able to answer questions. So we're going to have a lot of resources on our website, pdlabsrx.com, so that we can sift through this noise. And I'm going to encourage you. We're going to get you an AI agent too. How's that?
That sounds wonderful. Absolutely. So will that give you a little time off and a little extra time to sleep? Maybe.
No, actually, what I think it's going to do, it's going to work 24 hours a day and behind signs. So we're going to have to constantly feed it new information and program it. And so then after a while, I understand they get a little bit snarkly and they have a little bit of attitude. Yeah. So we'll and then we realize that it's a force to be reckoned with.
Absolutely. Then you got to discipline it, right?
That's right. Talk back to it.
In the house. Wow. Well, we also have several other shows. And so go to drpbetterlife.com. Not only can you find information on PD Labs and a link that goes straight to them and the Laval Performance Health Center, but you can find all of our previous shows once a month for the last 4 years, Ray. Almost 4 years now. Isn't that great? So
there's a lot of content we're going to boil that all into and compile it. So look at it. Just wait.
Sounds wonderful. All right, Ray. Well, thank you very much. We'll see you again in a month. And everybody, please take good care of each other out there. We'll see you next time.
That's right. Have a good time. Thank you.
You've been enjoying The Better Life with Dr. Mary Ann Pinkston. For more information, go to drpthebetterlife.com. That's drpthebetterlife.com. And listen next week for The Better Life with Dr. Pinkston.